Hey, it's Griffin, I'm the other guy, and we're going to do a download tutorial for the stuff you need. Alright, let's start with the most important thing, WPILib. So for WPILib download, you could usually just search it up, WPILib download, and you'll see it on the WPILib docs, you'll see the installation guide. Now, we also link the installation, but this is where it's easiest to find by the year. Right here, we see most recent release right here. This big blue button's what you want to click. It'll start the download into your Google or whatever web browser you use. As you can see, that's a pretty big download. Would not recommend doing this on school Wi-Fi if your school Wi-Fi is bad. Alright, so now it's downloaded. If you're using Google, you can see right here, it'll go into your folder. Your Windows machine, it'll always go into your downloads folder. So if you look right here, you'll see that it's a .iso. So right here, you go right click, mount. It adds it, you confirm that you want to open it, but it adds it as if it was a drive on your computer. So you'll see if you're on Windows 11 or any PC, it'll fall under the this PC folder, and you'll see WPILib drive. Right here, see all of the files that you need, except the one that you actually want to run is the installer. Double click on that. If Windows prompts you to protect your PC, you click more info and then you run it anyway. Here's the installer. So, of course, you want to click start. That's your only option here. And we want to install everything. We want the VS Code, and we also want all the tools. And you can choose to install for this or all users. For this user usually makes the most sense. And then there's these 4 boxes in the next step. As you can see, these options are kind of confusing, but all you need to worry about is download for this computer only for this course. Click on that. You'll see it runs a download. Hit next. Now we wait for it to get everything together. It'll be all good. Don't get frightened when it pulls up the console. Now, back into our installer, we're done. Now, your desktop will have a WPILib icon on it. If I unhide my desktop, you'll see WPILib documentation will come up, WPILib VS Code will come up. So, now, how do you access everything you got? You use your Windows search, access 2024 WPILib VS Code, but there's also some important tools which you should know how to access. We're going to be using Shuffleboard, which is another pre-download tool. Type Shuffleboard here. We'll also be using Advantage Scope. Right here. These all come with that WPILib installation. After done with that, we're going to move on to install the other most important thing for running FRC robot code, which is your driver station. This is the application that essentially allows for some communication, but we'll talk more about that later. How to download it, you search up FRC driver station. And you'll see that you'll get a tab for how to download driver station. So this is actually included inside the FRC game tools provided by NI LabVIEW. So this documentation that comes up first for the driver station contains the link to go to the documentation for downloading the FRC game tools. Right here, the FRC game tools. You'll see right here, it's a little hidden, but this little blue link gives the download to the National Instruments website, which has the download link. We'll have this directly linked in the description, but it's important to know how to navigate to it yourself when you need to update it. You can ignore the cookies or accept them. And right here, you'll see download. Just like last time, it'll pop up here. This one's a little smaller. And you run it. Here, you have to accept the license agreement. Next, go through all the steps that it needs. You can ignore the website. Next up, you're going to have to reopen it right here. You want the certificates installer, it's necessary. You need to accept some more license agreements, and it'll show you that you're getting the tools, lab view, which we won't use, and then some other necessary tools. Now this install can take a bit of a while in my experience. Then it'll ask for you to reboot. Now we're not going to reboot right now because of course that would, end this whole recording. But now if you look on your desktop again, you will see FRC driver station, this application right here. It also comes with a RoboRio imaging tool, which is important for setting up your robot. So if you were doing this on your own laptop, reboot now, come back in a little bit. But for us, we're going to ignore that. Next up, some more tools you're going to need are TunerX and Path Planner. These are both obtained from the Microsoft Store. So you open up your Microsoft Store, search for TunerX. TunerX is a utility made by CTRE, which is a company that creates the Talon Effects line of motors involving Krakens, Falcons. You might have heard of them before. You want to click install on it. So you're going to need this if you actually want to interact with motors like this on your real robot. Now, it is important to know that if you're using Rev Motors, different brand, they have their own similar tool that you can research how to download yourself. The application installs pretty quickly. You can open up right here or by searching it right here. We're going to talk more about this application later, but you can access it through the search bar like we just showed. Next up on the Microsoft Store again is Path Planner. Path Planner is going to be used to create autonomous routines, which is very important, and we'll talk about it as one of the later sections in this course. Might as well download it now, though. Click install, you'll get it. You can open it here in your taskbar, Path Planner. Next, we have GitHub. We have an extra video, if you don't know a lot about GitHub, that goes over it all. So watch that if you don't know. If you do know, you probably already have GitHub Desktop. So to get GitHub Desktop, you can do a Google search for GitHub Desktop. Download will come up pretty quick. You can download it for Windows right here. If you're on the main page, download now. Anyway, you click download, get another installer. It'll go into your downloads folder. Run it, go through the installation guide. Now I can't go through the installation guide because it would mess up my file system, but essentially follow the tutorials. You're going to need to make an account for GitHub. Email, password, you probably know the drill. If you need any help, GitHub has help. But besides that, that is all the applications we need for this course. So some final things to note. When should you update this stuff? Well, the advice I'd give for my experience doing FRC coding is absolutely at the beginning of the season. A lot of these manufacturers of these products like CTRE Motors or WPI themselves pushes an update right on the day of or within the week of kickoff. So you need to be checking within that week to make sure that you're getting all the updates. Otherwise, keep an occasional eye on what the actual patch notes include. Sometimes you can get away with not updating stuff for a little bit, but if you have the time and you have good enough internet, you might as well update. One final note, be wary of beta versions. Some of this stuff like Path Planner will push betas, and being a beta, it has cool new features, which could be awesome and good, but they also could have bugs because they are still in the process of being tested. So consider your programming expertise when deciding if you're going to run a beta version or not. That's it. Now you're all set.